Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Macon-Bibb County Board of Commission meetings. This is our pre-commission meeting. Our regular meeting where citizens can speak will be at 6 o'clock, but we'll have our regular pre-commission meeting at 5 o'clock today. Today is Tuesday, June the 16th, and the time is now 5 o'clock, and we'll have to officially call this meeting to order and welcome everyone here. We do have two commissioners that will be joining us by phone tonight, and the remaining commissioners are here in the chambers with it. He needs to cut, okay. So at this time, we're going to move on to item 2 on the agenda. Item 2 is the approval of the minutes of the June the 2nd, 2026 pre-commission meeting and public hearing. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. We also have the budget item, which is going to be last on the agenda, and right now we don't have a need to go in executive session. Item 3A is appointments and authorities, boards and commissions. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission appointing David Cole to serve as a member of the Macon-Bibb County Defined Contribution and Deferred Compensation Plan Administrative Board. He was recommended and he does qualify, and he is present. Where is he? There he is. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. And he is willing to serve. Thank you very much. So we see him there. You've got your information on him. At this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Have a motion by Commissioner Howell, second by Mayor Pro Tem Wynn. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Will be sent to consent agenda. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. We're going to move on to a new alcohol beverage licenses. We have several of those, the first of which will be recommended denial. This is Joy's Pick and Scratch, located at 3691 Spencer Circle, Macon, Georgia. You can see that item on your screen there. Legal does recommend denial on this. The reason for the denial is the business identifies as a food mart after inspection by code enforcement. They're actually operating as a vice mart. So at this time, the recommendation is denial. So at this time, I'd ask you to follow the recommendation of our council and deny this item. Can I get a motion to approve the denial? We have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, and we'll ask the attorneys to take the appropriate steps to make that happen. Item B is a Texaco Food Mart located at 2893 Napier Avenue, Macon, Georgia. You can see a picture of that. They are in good standing. They meet all legal and statutory requirements for that license to be provided there. And at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do you have a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Wynn. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. The next item on the menu is the Vita Latin Kitchen located at 3267 Vineville Avenue. Most of you are familiar with that. I'm not seeing a picture of that yet, which is where the old Greek deli used to be. There it is. I'm sure a couple of you may have been there. I have. And they had a temporary permit for a while, and now they're applying for their permanent permit there to sell alcohol beverages. They do meet all the legal and statutory requirements. They are a restaurant, and they have submitted a certificate of good standing, which means they paid their taxes. So at this time, Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to make that motion? A motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have a second? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Whose district is that in? Well, is that your district? Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the Extra Mile located at 2630 Emory Highway, Suite A in Macon, Georgia. That's item D on the agenda. Legal does recommend approval of this. They meet all the legal and statutory requirements to get an alcohol license, and they did complete their certificate of good standing, which means they're eligible. So at this time, we'd ask for a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Howell. We have a second. I got a second by Mayor Pro Tem. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Sent to consent agenda. Item E is an A1 Stop and Shop located at 1433 Eisenhower Parkway. That is Suite R. You can see that there. Legal does recommend approval of this alcohol beverage licenses. This is an item that meets the legal and statutory requirements, including the distance requirements, and they do meet the certificate of good standing, meaning they paid their taxes and they're current. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Hewitt. We have a motion and second. No further questions. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Going to move on to contracts and purchase orders for approval. We have two of those items tonight. The first being item 5A. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Murnaline Pyrotechnics, which is LLC, for a fireworks show at Lake Tobosoffke on July 4th, 2026, in amount not to exceed $27,500 for the first year, for a term up to 5 years to be paid from the Lake Tobosoffke Fund. This is professional services and is in their budget line item. In that budget line item. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Howell. Do you have a second? Second by Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Stewart, you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I'm in agreement with him, of course, but I was trying to figure out why 5 years, because this is going to post-date your administration. So why is that a 5-year term in that?
It doesn't matter. It comes up every year for renewal.
Okay. Come every year? Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're assuming it's going to post-date my administration, but yeah, we can make that assumption.
I know it is.
Okay.
Either way.
We'll see what happens. All right, we have a motion and second. Commissioner Wynn, do you have a follow-up?
Is this a new company to us?
No, this is the same company we've used
It's
before.
the same one
We're
we've
just
been
renewing it.
using?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We have a motion and second. No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Advent Business Interiors in amount of $148,913.49 for the purchase of furniture for code enforcement officers to be paid from the 2018 SPOS Fund. As you remember, we have been building out this area right beside us here. It used to be the Detective Bureau next here to City Hall for moving the code enforcement officers in there. This is just the furniture to furnish that out of the 2018 SPOS. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. A motion by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Wynn. Any other questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to consent agenda. Going to move on to grants, and we do have 3 of those tonight. The first grant, item 6A, is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of the 2025 Emergency Management Performance Grant from the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency in an amount of $50,000 with a $50,000 local match to be met through a provision of in-kind services, which means we don't have to pay any additional monies, to be used by the Macon-Bibb County EMA to purchase a vehicle to transport and deliver shelter and supplies and equipment. This time, we entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Stewart. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of the Judicial Council of Georgia American Rescue Plan Act grant for additional 2026 funding in amount of $119,365 with no local match required. This is awarded to the Macon Judicial Circuit Superior Court. This is for the purpose of having senior judges and other supporting staff to try to clear up some backlog in the judicial system. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have a second? We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of a FIFA World Cup sub-recipient grant in an amount of $59,320 awarded to the Bibb County Sheriff's Office to provide assistance to enhance security during the FIFA events. So basically, they're giving this money for about 3 staff, including a bomb-sniffing dog that will be loaning them in exchange for that payment to make this a safe and secure place for people to visit Georgia for the FIFA. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. You got a unanimous for so move. We have a second. You got a second? I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion passes. We're going to move on to some proposed budgets for 2027, in which the last item will be actually voting for the budget. The first one is ordinance of Macon-Bibb County Commission to adopt the Economic and Community Development Department ESG, Home, and the CDBG proposed budgets for fiscal year 2027. Thank you, Ms. Jackson, for being here. As you know, each year we have some money that passes through Macon-Bibb County. As part of that, Ms. Jackson and her partners and her staff draft up a budget. Contained in your items there's an exhibit there letting you know where these funds are coming from and how much each item and where the money is expected to be expended and what's required by law. So at this time, I'm just going to ask her to give her an overview of that, and then at that time, if there's any questions, we can have you ask any questions of that. So, Ms. Jackson, if you don't mind identifying yourself and the position that you hold, and then basically just some general comments about this budget.
Yes, I am Juanita Jackson with the Macon-Bibb County Economic and Community Development.
Hold on just a second. Let me make sure that microphone's on. Shows on my screen, but let's see. There you go.
Okay, great. I did not hear myself. Okay.
There you go.
So I am Juanita Jackson with the Economic and Community Development Department. Tonight I'm going to go over a little bit of information with regards to the funding that we will be presenting. As a part of that presentation, we're going to start with just talking a little bit about economic and community development and the purpose of these funds. For the purpose of these funds with regards to economic and community development, these are for citizens of Macon-Bibb County, and it is to look at housing as well as social services and then economic development. For our funding sources that we have that are in the agenda for tonight is emergency solutions grant funds, as well as home investment partnership funds and community development funds. Just to give you a little bit of information with regards to that. So with emergency solutions grant funds, these particular funds are only for those individuals as far as homeless. This will be those that are literally homeless or those that are in jeopardy of becoming homeless. And it just gives a little bit of background with regards to this that is appropriated through the HEARTH Act. Also want to let you know with regards to some of the eligible activities that are associated. We have rapid rehousing. We also have homelessness prevention. With these particular categories, rental assistance is available, as well as financial assistance, as well as services with regards to this particular one. For eligible costs up under the next categories that are available is emergency shelter as well as street outreach. With emergency shelter, it's essential services as far as the case management, child care, as well as some other services. Then it also deals with the renovation as far as labor and materials, as far as that emergency shelter is concerned, and then also shelter operations. For street outreach, it's a little bit different with regards to those things that are eligible. It deals with case management, emergency health services, as well as mental health services, transportation, and other special services. Wanted to make sure that we talk about these categories because these are the main categories that are eligible up under this particular funding source. In your package, you'll see that we have, it's proposed that we receive funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $161,244. As a part of that, we have looked at what the eligible costs are and also looking at some of the programs that we have funded in the past. Just as a reminder, with regards to all the funds that we're talking about today, that these are application-based. So we do have agencies that apply to us and then are recommended for funding, and those contracts come back to you later on in the year with regards to funding those. So we have emergency shelter, which is $33,942 that we're looking at. We have homeless prevention, rapid rehousing, approximately $85,209. And then we have street outreach as a part of that, the $30,000. And then for this particular funding source, the cap as far as the planning and administration of this one is for $12,093. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the Home Investment Partnership Program. For the Home Investment Partnership Program, this particular program provides affordable housing for those individuals that are low to moderate income within Macon-Bibb County, whether it be rental opportunities or whether it be home ownership opportunities. You've heard about some of the projects that have come forward to you. That's an application-based as well, as far as different projects that we've done throughout the county to provide affordable housing, whether it be rental or whether it be home ownership opportunities. Some of those eligible activities up under that particular portion is the program administration with regards to that particular grant, as well as construction or rehabilitation of housing for low to moderate income home buyers that I've stated before, as well as the construction or rehabilitation of housing for low to moderate income rental housing. And as a part of this particular one, 15% of the total allocation must be allocated to a community housing development organization to provide either home ownership or rental housing opportunities. Most of the times we have this question, who is really considered to be low income? So I put this chart in here just to give everyone a little bit of an observation. This is information that is provided to us by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Based upon Macon-Bibb County, for a family household of 4, that household could not make more than $61,600 to actually qualify with regards to these programs. So everything is based upon those individuals that are over 18, that are 18 or older, that work in that household, and whatever that income is, as well as the number of individuals in that household. And it gives a chart that goes all the way up to 8 individuals as far as the chart that's provided, and then gives additional calculations that can be utilized to determine if we happen to have a household that has more than 8 people, to determine if they qualify for the service. That being said, the recommendation with regards to the funds up under home funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, for that entitlement portion, $829,095. We're also looking at the possibility of program income of $125,000, as well as a required match by the local government, which is $103,020, for a total of $1,057,115. As a part of this breakdown, we are looking at 10%, which is the maximum that you can do with regards to the actual grant. Also, the developer projects. Developer projects, again, this would be either construction or the rehabilitation with regards to housing for low-income individuals and for home ownership as well as rental opportunities. That's $737,341. Then also down payment assistance of $100,000. And then for the community housing development organizations, that minimum of that 15% that must be allocated, we have allotted for that, which is $124,365. Lastly, we'll talk about the Community Development Block Grant Program. With the Community Development Block Grant Program, all of the funds must be utilized again for those residents that are in Macon-Bibb County. This is also an application process as well, where we have agencies that come to us once a year and provide applications as far as different types of programs. For this particular one, it is provides all kinds of services from public service to infrastructure, to some of the other things that you will see as far as housing is concerned, but only from the rehabilitation standpoint in this particular grant can actually be done. So some of the eligible activities, the program administration, the maximum that you can do is 20% as far as that allocation. Also, public services cannot exceed 15%. That is the largest amount of applications that we normally receive each year. When we talk about public service, those are those social service types things wherein you're actually providing services, whether that be counseling, case management, could be tutorial type things, anything that's brick and mortar comes out of another pot with regards to the funds. Then it leads to the portion as far as rehabilitation of residential and non-residential structures, as well as the construction of public facilities and improvements such as water, sewer, streets, neighborhoods. These are the funds that we've used over the years to do different types of projects, and they must be in low to moderate income neighborhoods where we've done sidewalks before. We've also partnered with the engineering department to do drainage projects wherein there were drainage issues, and we've also worked as far as recreation to provide equipment with regards to parks and recreation. The other portion is as far as the acquisition of real property and then the provision of assistance to carry out economic development. So with the economic development piece, this is dealing with job creation. So all activities that fall up under this must create an actual job for a low to moderate income individual. So it's a full-time equivalent. Anything over that, anything up to $35,000. As a part of that full-time equivalent, it could be 2 part-time individuals or it could be 1 full-time person. So to give you a little bit of an idea with regards to this particular funding source, where you fall as far as that category is concerned. Because I know you're like, well, I just saw this chart. Well, the charts are different depending upon the funding source. Now, the amounts may be almost exactly the same, but in some variations from year to year, they're updated and they may be off by a couple of dollars. So for the community development block grant funds for the income limits, a household of 4, the maximum amount that you could receive would be $61,600. For this particular grant opportunity, that Department of Housing and Urban Development is looking at providing community development block grant entitlement funds of $1,853,902. We anticipate that we may receive $85,000 with regards to revolving loan fund. General fund, $17,450. Then we also have our other categories, wherein the maximum amount was that 20% with regards to administration. We also have redevelopment, which looks at the overall as far as the redevelopment assistance that deals with our housing programs and other housing that we do. And then we also have economic development as far as small business. And then we have our economic development rehabilitation program, as well as public facilities, infrastructure, and acquisition. Another part of that, we're going to go into this a little bit in more detail as far as the breakdown with regards to the volunteer programs as well as public service, that 15%. So with the proposed public service categories, for the first one that's being recommended, these are applications that have already been received, and we have had reviews with regards to the committee. The recommendation for Big Brothers Big Sisters is $30,000. The recommendation for Crisis Line and Safe House is $44,324. For Family Advancement Ministries, $33,185. For Family Counseling Center of Central Georgia, $45,896. For Home First Resource Services, $46,912. For Macon-Bibb EOC Transportation, $15,000. And for Salvation Army, $54,768, which equals to that $278,085, which is that 15% that we can do with regards to the public service. So all of these fall up under the social service type category. Then we have the rehabilitation section, wherein the recommendation as far as rebuilding Macon, minor home repair, $200,000. And then we also have some other applications that were received but have not been recommended for funding, which are Beyond Ordinary Incorporated. And they actually did 2 applications, one for $200,000 and one for $51,500. And then Highly Human Services, which is $401,900 that was submitted. And then Making Ways for the Elderly, which is $50,000, which is a total of $703,400 as far as those applications that were not recommended for funding at this time. Do you have any questions?
Well, first of all, thank you for great detail that you provide. I think a lot of folks at home are always wondering, and some commissioners as well, on number one, where the money comes from, number two, how applications are accepted and how you expend this, and what are the mandatory expend amounts that you have to have. So as expected, we do have 2 or 3 questions, so I'm going to go ahead and begin with a couple of these questions. I have Commissioner Cato. Got you first.
Thank you for breaking that down. You broke everything down so I can definitely understand it. I have 2 questions for you. On that budget of, you were doing the homes and giving the amount of the income guidelines, how many homes do you expect to build on that budget, and what is going to be the median price of the homes?
So that's a hard question because remember, this funding source can be utilized for home ownership opportunities as well as rental opportunities. So all of that is actually based upon the project that's being presented as to whether it's rental, how many how many units it is. Is it 3-bedroom? Is it 2-bedroom? Is it a multifamily? And then I'll be honest with you, with regards to our applications, we do have a lot of projects wherein we're partnering with other agencies. So we're only paying a small percentage with regards to a larger project as far as multifamily.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bailey?
Yes, and again, thank you as well for all you do for our citizens of Macon. You stated that this is an application process, not only just for citizens, but our builders, our people out there working in construction, their own construction agencies that have actually been out there for a while, you know, and they've been sacrificing greatly to make those particular updates. But still, we have a lot of people out there that don't know where to go to fill out these applications. Just for our listeners, could you tell us where to go to fill out these applications, our builders when they need, you know, assistance updating homes, or even our citizens that want to make updates to their homes?
So with regards to applications, we actually do funding opportunities, which we call our funding workshops, and we do those throughout the year, and they're almost true to date. For our home funds, which is where most of our developers will apply, that one is normally between February and April that we normally have that funding workshop. The last 2 years it's actually been in April with regards to that. We normally advertise it in the local paper. We'll also do email blasts, and we advertise it on our website. So as a part of these, because they are very complex funds that they require certain documentation, that we do require everyone to come to the funding workshop with regards to that. The other funding source that we do have developers sometimes that are doing a rehabilitation project, that one is going to be community development block grant funds, and that one is normally done in October of each year. And again, it's actually advertised the same way as far as the website and then also through the local paper and other avenues as far as that one as well. And both of those are application processes. But we do have in-house, we do have our minor home repair that deals with roofs. And we are in the process of updating some of our other programs that will provide, if you are eligible, there is an application process where you can contact our office. We're 751-478-751-7190. And they will give you all the logistics and everything that needs to be submitted to actually submit an application with regards to that program.
Okay. And your new location, I visited your building and all, it was beautiful. Could you go
Thank
ahead
you.
and give us your location?
We're actually located at 688 Walnut Street, Suite 101.
Thank you. I appreciate that information. Great question. Mayor Pro Tem Nguyen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to have you here, Ms. Jackson. It seems like we hadn't seen you in a while. You need to come more often.
Been at
okay?
least 2 meetings ago.
But I always have to ask you something, you know that. Of the application process, and she was asking about it for contractors and builders, is it for individual application processes, people too? And how do they go about doing that?
So for that one, that was the second portion that I was talking about, and we only have that with regards to that application process for minor home repair. But we do have other agencies that provide services. If it's something that we are in contact with as far as an agency that provides that service, then we will refer individuals to those agencies. And they don't necessarily have to be funded by our department. We do have a list of different agencies that provide services throughout the community. We try to keep that information on hand. And understanding, we always tell people, you know, this may have been the service that they were providing last year, not sure if they're still providing that service.
So they really come through you for individual applications more than anybody, right?
For the most part, it just depends upon what the service is, because we do have some of our agencies like Rebuild in Macon that also provide repairs and some other things. Anything dealing with counseling or some type of homeless service, we normally forward them to those particular agencies.
Do you work in conjunction with Habitat at all?
Yes, we
Okay, and
actually
then-
provide funds to Habitat.
Okay.
So we have had several contracts that have been before commission with regards to new construction. The last few that, I think the last one that we've done, I want to say may have been Duncan, if I'm not mistaken, but we've had most of them that were in Linmore Estates. We also have participated with regards to their strategic plan, that they asked most of the housing agencies within Macon-Bibb to come to that as far as information as well.
And one more thing, you mentioned at the beginning, you try to find, I guess, housing for homeless. How do you reach the homeless community, and how do you go about that?
So there is actually a homeless coalition here in Macon-Bibb County, and there are several agencies that are a part of the homeless coalition, all the way down to churches. So it's not a requirement that you receive funds from the state or the federal government, but most of them, they're representatives and everything else, and we try to connect as far as those services are concerned. And then also through some of our other avenues, which are some of our local agencies that we actually provide funds to as well.
Some of those organizations then reach out and find the homeless and try to contact them and bring them in.
Yes, you actually have First Choice Primary Care that they actually do outreach, and that's the section up under Emergency Solutions Grant that actually deals with the outreach part, where it talks about outreach, and they're currently have provided that service.
You also provide services to the almost homeless, right? Or,
Yes, and those are the individuals that are in jeopardy of becoming homeless.
Yeah.
So on the emergency solution side, it is those individuals that are literally homeless, and then those that are in jeopardy of becoming homeless. So in most of those instances, they're in the process of actually being evicted, or they may be in an overcrowded situation with regards to that and about to be evicted from that particular location.
Okay, one more thing about the money that was not given to the elderly. What happened there? It was one of the
So-
last things you had on there.
Yes, so if you look at that information, so with regards to that one that was not funded,
Yeah.
that one was not recommended for funding.
Yeah.
Just based upon some of the comments with regards to that information. First of all, we didn't have enough money to fund everyone. But the other thing is that some of the information was missing with regards to just clarifying the program and what was going to happen from A to B. Because we need to know from beginning to the end, and actually looking at the logistics and who you're serving with regards to the application you're providing.
You made a comment I can understand and we can understand. Sometimes you just don't have funding for everything.
And you're right.
So think about that with our budget tonight, okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Pro
you.
Tem. Commissioner Stewart.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Ms. Jackson, thank you for all you do, you and your team, Ms. Woody, the entire team. There were two numbers that jumped out at me, and Mayor Pro Tem kind of touched on one, so I won't have you go back over that, which is the $85,209 for the homeless assistance. You kind of touched on that just now. But the other one is the $8,000 for EOC transportation. Explain that to me, or explain it to me in a way that my constituents will know about it.
So with regards to the transportation portion, this is actually providing bus passes and other transportation opportunities for those individuals that are low to moderate income or maybe homeless that need to get to different types of appointment for opportunities. So one of the things that we have here in our community, let's say that I need to, I have to make these stops as far as the referral is concerned. Well, I'm already homeless. How do I get to those locations? As a part of that, you can apply with regards to this particular agency. If that person is found to be eligible, then they would get a bus pass. And with those bus passes, they can go to different types of appointments, individuals that may have employment opportunities, as well as other health care type of appointments as well.
That $8,000 is a rather low number for that. So what can we do, you think, going forward to increase that number by any amount?
So with regards to that particular amount, it is a low number. But we also have to take into consideration we don't have enough money to fund everyone, and the amount that was originally asked is the $10,000. So if you look at the breakdown, it shows that they requested $10,000 and the recommendation was for $8,000. So we tried to do some, but was not able to do all of what the request was.
So let me ask you this, always try to think out the box a little bit. So getting community partners, maybe corporations or whatever, involved to give to that fund, is that possible? Is that doable?
So
to
that would
speak?
be something that we would need to actually talk over with the agency. But what I will tell you is that there are agencies that also provide transportation with regards to individuals that are seeking services. So all the agencies are not necessarily utilizing these funds as far as the referrals are concerned.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Mr. Bell, you got one follow-up?
And one final question, Ms. Jackson. Again, thank you. And what you're doing is so very, very important for the homeless with all these particular wraparound services. There is a great need for the statistical databases as well, and you're doing that also. And I just want to ask you if you are feeding into our national, local, or federal databases, and have you begun also to feed into the databases for Atrium Health for the statistics for the homeless?
About your time
So
at HMIS.
with regards to the homeless information, we actually use the HMIS system, which is as a part of these funding that we must have a reporting system wherein we are tracking and documenting who's being served. Now, when we say who's being served, we're not saying when Zena Jackson received such and such on such and such day. We're doing the statistical information with regards to identifying individuals and then the demographics associated with that individual. So that is information that is gathered, is actually maintained by the state of Georgia through Department of Community Affairs. So all of the agencies that receive Homeless Solutions Grant are required to utilize that particular system. And then they also provide statistical information with regards to who they're serving.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Cato, we'll take a final vote, question before we take a vote.
I have a question for one of the constituents. What is the amount, and I was looking for it, I saw it somewhere, I think in the big book, on small businesses? How much?
So with regards to small business, in this particular one, we actually put in the amount of $5,000, but we do have some additional funds that we are looking at with regards to small business. So I will say this, that with regards to small business, that this is one of those application processes that it must actually create a job. And as a part of creating and maintaining that job, also that is for low to moderate income individuals, and then there's also other criteria that are associated with the economic development piece.
Can you tell me approximately how many applications do you receive for small businesses wanting help or asking for assistance, and how many do we turn down?
So we probably receive 2 or 3 with regards to applications. And we probably, out of those 2 or 3, maybe 1 might be approved. It just depends upon what it is, because there's other things that actually go into the application. The other thing is that what they're requesting, is it something that's eligible up under these funds?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone's questions and participating in the conversation. Ms. Jackson, again, thank you for all that you do and all your staff do and all your partners do. Certainly, we appreciate that. And a lot of times you're coming here, people are holding out their hands for money that you don't have, and you try to meet the needs. I appreciate you taking the time and everything going through this. And of course, you guys know this will be coming. She'll come back several times throughout the year for votes, and you'll know exactly what this came through from this budget that we've got here. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion? We get a second? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. All right, we're going to move on to our next item prior to the budget. It's going to be an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to adopt the fiscal 2027 budget of 2025 SPOS proceeds and authorize appropriations. At this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Cook, a second by Commissioner Bailey. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to consent agenda. Item C is the budget. And this is our final budget. You should receive the copy of the budget to your liking there. It includes all the organizational charts and everything. The budget amount, total amount did not change. I want to make sure that you have a copy of that at your seat there. This is an ordinance to adopt a budget and appropriation sums for the operation of the Macon-Bibb County government for fiscal year 2027. And you have the numbers that we have there. As many of you know, we get requests all the time from all of our departments that we work well together, and our outside agencies that we only call them that is because we have to call them something. They're our partners as well, and they're our family as well. We can't always provide everything that everyone needs unless taxpayers are just willing to open up their wallet and give the money for everything that they have. So we had to have priorities. This year, I told you when I did our budget proposal just a few weeks ago that we are on a very tight schedule, a very tight budget. Last night, I watched through a meeting from a Middle Georgia community that looking at a 4 meal tax increase because things simply cost more than they did several years ago. If you look at the price of gas, food, insurance, we have to manage our budget, and so does our citizens, and the county is no different from that. So we asked a lot of our partners and our outside agencies and our departments to look at trimming their budgets for vacancies that they may have as much as up to 10%. And some of the people that were excluded from that, for the most part, is what we deem to be public safety, the sheriff and the fire department, because of the needs that we have there. They do represent one of our largest budgets as well. Doesn't mean that these other budgets are not appreciated and necessary. It just means we have to budget ourselves accordingly. I wish we had an additional $40 million to give everybody else who asked the money, but certainly we don't have that, wallet like that. But I do think that we have a reasonable budget. We also, as you know, and everybody's been here at least for a year now, that we revisit these things come January. A lot of times in the middle of the year, we look at people's budget to see how much they've actually utilized as opposed to what they were budgeted to, and sometimes they go up or down. And sometimes we may have better collections that we had or a better year than we expect. But I try to be as conservative as I can with the taxpayer dollars, and I know that you do that as well. So we put together a budget we think is fair and balanced. It stresses the needs that we have in our community and that people have said. I'm not going to go through the budget in its entirety again. Of course, copies are available for everybody to look at, and this is the opportunity that you have to vote on the budget. As you know, the millage rate is presumed to be the millage rate it was last year because we haven't got the tax digest yet. Many people, maybe today, tomorrow, this week, will receive some estimates from the tax commissioner's office, which you do each year, based on tax evaluations that the tax assessor does each year. Keep in mind that the tax assessor does independent evaluations that follow guidelines that the state has created in not Macon-Bibb County, so we don't determine what our need is and then try to make a budget based on what the value of your property is. That's an entirely separate situation where they determine how much the value of your house may or may not be based on guidelines that they're required to do. Macon-Bibb County just uses the total tax digest to determine what the millage rate is, and that's what we're looking at now. So we will not be setting the millage rate tonight, but we are presuming that the millage rate will stay the same, which it was last year. And the value of that mill will determine how much money Macon-Bibb County will receive, and we'll probably vote on that in the next month or two on the final millage rate once the tax digest gets done. And also, people have a right to appeal, and if you believe that you're improperly received an evaluation higher than just on your property, then like I tell everyone, you have a right to appeal that decision, and there's a process you need to do that. And certainly we don't hold that against you. But there is a process and there's a procedure, and that's what we're doing here tonight. This vote, unlike other votes, the mayor does not participate in these votes. The mayor, he or she, only votes in case of a tie. But it is my job to bring forth a budget, and I've done that. And it takes 6 votes as opposed to 5 votes to pass this budget. So at this time, commissioners, you've received that budget. We've advertised that in the paper. We've had at least one hearing on that last week. Now's the time to vote on this budget, not the millage rate, but the budget itself. So at this time, I entertain a motion to approve the budget as published. Have a motion, and we have a second. We got a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no need to go into executive session, and we have about 15 minutes, so we'll be taking a brief recess until 6 o'clock. I do want to recognize a few people here because they may leave, but I believe we have a Boy Scout Troop 100 here. They've been observing us today, and they just got shocked when I recognized them, but I think that's the number. If you don't mind standing up so we can recognize you, they'll be here observing the government and work. We appreciate y'all being here, and give them a hand. Thank you for being here. I know that sometimes this can be boring work, but it's necessary work, and you too will be a taxpayer one day. You can appreciate the great work that these men and women do around this horseshoe. But thank you for what you do. Thank you for your participation in the Boy Scouts. It's certainly a very worthy cause. I know you've got good leadership there. And thank you for being here tonight. You may have a seat. And we also have another special gentleman, Mr. Ford, if you don't mind, you've got a gentleman in your box up there that some of these commissioners haven't seen before, so I wouldn't mind if you would come down here and recognize this gentleman, tell him who he is, and how he came about being in that box up there with you. It's not because he's in a penalty box either, so. I didn't tell him I was going to do that, but since we had a few minutes, I like to recognize young folk when I can. Your microphone's all yours, sir.
Didn't tell me you were doing that either. This is Dexter Whitby. He is a rising junior at Mercer University in their Journalism and Communications Studies program. He is one of our summer interns in the government that is running through our Office of Community Affairs. He just started yesterday, and when he said he was willing to be put into the fire on his first day, we had him on assignment in 20 minutes, and on day 2, he's addressing the commission. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dexter Whitby, our new intern in the Office of Communications.
Thank you. Not to put you on the spot, Mr. Whitby, and don't tell me anything you and I talked about earlier today, okay? That's all private information. But just tell a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind. And we've heard that you're going to school in the grade, but anything else that you'd like to tell us?
Well, my name is Dexter Whitby. I've lived in Macon, Georgia all of my life. A few things about myself, just willing to learn. I'm thankful for the opportunity, and just grateful that I can help impact the city of Macon with what I've learned at Mercer.
Thank you very much, sir, and I appreciate you being here tonight as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 5:45. We'll reconvene at 6 o'clock for our regularly scheduled meeting. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Macon-Bibb County Board of Commission meeting. This is our regularly scheduled meeting, and the time is approximately 6:05. Today is Tuesday, June the 16th. I'd like to welcome everyone here today and everyone who is watching at home. We do have a few items to handle on the agenda, including our consent agenda that was handled earlier at our pre-commission meeting, and we know we have several people that want to speak on items on the agenda and on non-agenda. But at this time, I'd like to officially call this meeting to order and begin our meeting like we always do. That is with the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Our prayer tonight is by Pastor Leonta Tomlin, the New Life Christian Church. Is she here today? You are, I'm sorry. Well, you come on up here then. My bad. I'm looking at my list. We welcome you. So if y'all, if you don't mind, stand up and bow your head while she leads us into prayer, and then we'll follow that up with the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you will bow your heads. Heavenly Father, it's once more and again, your humble servants has come before thee. Thanking you for another day, God, that you have blessed us, another day that you've let us live, and for that we say thank you. We thank you, oh God, for waking us up this morning, starting us on another day's journey. And Lord, there's things that need to be taken care of in the Commissioners' Council. But we ask that you give them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do the work of the people. You know who they are, you know whose they are. We ask, oh God, that you would just continue to bless each and every one under the sound of my voice. Bless them with the blessings that they stand in need of. And Lord, we'll be so ever to give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. Lord, it's in your Son, Jesus' name we do pray. And let all the saints of God say amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, we don't have any presentations tonight. We do have, I've got 4 or 5 people who signed up for non-agenda items and 1 on agenda item. And I had a young lady who came in late. I thought she was going to sign up. I don't see her here. Where did she go? Okay. We'll move on with the agenda item that I do have. And my friend from Bailey Avenue, if you don't mind, come up. I know you want to speak about flock cameras tonight, sir. So if you don't mind, introduce yourself, speak into that microphone. You do have up to 5 minutes to speak regarding the budget item.
To Macon 6 years ago, and I am very impressed with the professionalism both on the announcements made by your public relations department, which is excellent, absolutely A+, and how you manage your money. Because I have to go back to Fort Lauderdale every month or so to fight with the Fort Lauderdale City Commission, which is dysfunctional and has so much money they don't know what to do with. They lost their city hall. They've designed a new city hall in the shape of a part of the male anatomy for $1 billion, and they are taking out 11% loan for it. And I noticed from your excellent public relations department, you're borrowing 6% or less for your public projects. And I pointed out to them last time I was there that by that basis, the members of the Bibb-Macon County Commission are twice as smart as the members of the Fort Lauderdale City Commission that make $100,000 a year salary, $6,000 in expenses, $54,000 in special funds, and have assistants that make from $100,000 to $125,000 a year. And the mayor, who also happens to be my lawyer, has an assistant who makes a cool $250,000 a year. You do more than they do with 10, 20, or 30,000 times what you do. You really are very excellent people. However, I've come because of the flock item. There are 3 bricks on my lawn. 2 bricks for ginger cats that were run over on Bailey Avenue by speeders. The 3rd brick is by the curb. It marks the grave of a gray female cat who was run over when she went back to the woods after eating on my porch. And the reason I know she was run over by a thug is because a young gentleman from down the street from me came to me as I was preparing the grave to say how sorry he was because he had actually seen it. The thug who was speeding ran over the kitten, came out, saw the kitten, threw the kitten to the curb as if she was dying, and sped off. He didn't realize it was a kitten. He thought it was just, a grocery or something. I believe flock cameras are a necessity, especially in Georgia, especially in Macon, where crime is such a problem. As the mayor knows, because he follows events, only today, $250,000 to $500,000 in stolen property was recovered here in the state of Georgia by flock cameras. With all due respect, the sheriff has been for decades trying to protect us. The mayor has been practicing law for decades honorably. I don't think that the sheriff would propose flock cameras if he thought that it wasn't effective. I don't think the mayor would let it be on the agenda if he thought it was a violation of civil rights. I really hope that you approve the entire budget, including the flock cameras, to preserve not only people, but also innocent pets.
Is this time for public comment, Mayor Miller?
This is a time for public comment on those folks who came to fill out a form earlier. Did you do that, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay, I know that you're here on the flock camera, so I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself since you were here last time to speak against the flock cameras. But if you don't mind, before you leave, if you don't mind filling that form out and making sure we have that, so we have a way of
Absolutely.
contacting you. This is an agenda item. I would consider that an agenda item because it's part of the budget. Currently, we have several folks that are speaking on non-agenda items that we'll take up later. So if you don't mind, just introduce yourself, and then you got up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Rhiannon Weimer. I have been a resident of Macon and Bibb County nearly all of my life. I am, of course, speaking on flock cameras. Good afternoon. I would like to start by reading you a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." I want you to keep that quote in mind while I go over some of the statements made by Sheriff Davis on June 2nd in this room regarding flock cameras. I also want you to keep in mind that Sheriff Davis's name is the sole signature on the contract between Flock and Bibb County. That contract includes all of the features offered by Flock, including, quote, real-time routing and vehicle fingerprint footage search. Sheriff Davis signed his name on that piece of paper and then stood here, looked each of you in the eye, and said, all a flock camera does is take a picture of the license plate. It doesn't know where the car is going or where it has been. In my opinion, the sheriff either did not read the contract he signed as a representative of this county, or he lied to you in order to get his way. If that alone is not enough to convince you that we should not be funding this program, let me remind you that Sheriff Davis himself told us on June 2nd that the Governor's Office of Public Safety gave the Sheriff's Department funds specifically for flock cameras. If that is the case, then he does not need our taxpayer dollars to continue to pay for a system he clearly misunderstands, but remains willing to advocate for in the name of public safety. Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. I relinquish the rest of my time. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. We're going to move on to approval of the minutes. This is approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Stewart. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you very much. We have one item of old business. This is the final denial of One Stop 2025 doing business as Stop located at 4141 Houston Avenue. So this is a final notice of denial. So by voting for this, you're agreeing to deny that license. It's gone through the process. Anybody have any questions about what we're doing? Okay. At this time, we entertain a motion to approve the denial. Okay. Mr. Howell, I think that was yours. We've got Commissioner Howell, Mayor Pro Tem Nguyen. Have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thank you very much. We have a consent item agenda, which is items A through M. Items A through M, as previously published and went through on our pre-commission meeting within the last hour. So at this time, I entertain a motion to approve items A through M. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Have a second? Excuse me? Okay, my bad. We have a second by Commissioner Nguyen. Commissioner Nguyen, you have a question?
Yeah, could we vote on the budget? Is that M?
Sure, we can pull that
alone?
separately.
Can we do that alone?
Items A through, what's before that? Is that L?
L, M.
Want to make sure it's not out of order if I say that. Okay, everything without the exception of budget. So this time, we got a motion and second on the consent agenda, and we'll vote on the budget separately. So all those in favor, I'm sorry, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
And got a second? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Now, we'll take a separate vote on this. This is an ordinance of Macon-Bibb County to adopt a budget and appropriate sums for the operations of the Macon-Bibb County government for fiscal year 2027 to provide for repeal of any conflicting ordinances. That's the right one? Okay. That is the budget itself. And I get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can I get a second? We got a motion and second. All those in favor of the, for the budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. This time, we have no items left on the agenda, no need to go into executive session, but we do have 4 additional people who would like to speak